Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Your Mark on the World show. Our guest today is Junaid Wahedna. He is the CEO and founder of Wahed Invest. Graduate of Columbia, he's an amazing guy, creating a platform for halal investing. You don't want to miss this episode. I'm your host, Devin Thorpe. I'm a Forbes contributor covering social entrepreneurship and impact investing, and this one's going to be great.
Welcome to Your Mark on the World, bringing you another change maker with champion of social good, Devin D. Thorpe.
Junaid, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Devin.
We're thrilled to have you. It's exciting to talk to you. You know, you're doing something that is truly interesting and special, and so there's a lot to talk about. But let's start with something foundational. Let's get everyone on the same page. A lot of my audience probably isn't super familiar with what it means to do halal investing. So take a minute and just explain what the halal guidelines are for investing and why it matters to the Islamic community.
Absolutely. So it's actually quite a simple concept. What we do is run an ethical filter over all our investments. So what that means is we screen for excessive debt, alcohol, tobacco, firearms, pornographic material, and a few other, minor unethical things. So a key point when we're talking about this is it doesn't actually only appeal to the, halal consumer. We've actually had a lot of interest from church groups and pastors and other religious people of other faiths. And we hope that it should be a product for the community regardless. So it's a very simple concept. Yeah.
So, when I think of halal investing, my first thought goes to restrictions on borrowing and lending money. But that isn't a focus of what you're doing, is it?
When you talk about Islamic finance, you would find that predominantly it focuses on Islamic banking. So obviously with banking, there's the borrowing and lending aspect, and it's very tricky, to get that piece to be halal, so to say. And for us, we don't do any lending or borrowing. It's pure cash accounts, no margin trading. It is a very simple investment platform. What we want to show is that we can have a very simple and efficient product, that works for everyone, that can compete with the best conventional products out there, but at the same time be ethical so that people don't have to, lose out or have inefficiencies just for their religious or ethical norms.
So your platform is designed for ordinary retail investors. This isn't, and not that you couldn't bring $1 million or $20 million to the platform, but you can open an account with $100, right?
Absolutely. So what we saw is that people with $1 million, $20 million have a lot of access to investments. They can go to a conventional bank and they will happily provide a halal screen for them. But when it comes to the retail consumer, and that is, 99% of the Muslim population or the practicing Muslim population, they have nowhere to go. So unfortunately, they keep their money in cash or real estate. These are the two hot investments for the community. And there's no in between. So they lose out over time. There's no diversification available. So this was built purely to give access, to a simple and efficient method for them to invest, something they can trust, and something that's very transparent and simple so that anyone and everyone can use it. So absolutely.
And essentially what you've created is a robo-advisor, right? So you're using technology to accomplish some of these objectives. Help us understand where robots start and people intervene and how good judgment is applied to accomplish these objectives.
Absolutely. So when you speak of robo-advisors, initially it was a big deal because the traditional wealth management model was you have a financial advisor, they approach you, it's all physical, there's branches, then there's portfolio managers that choose the security, then there's active mutual fund managers. So there's people everywhere. It's very manual and thus very inefficient. Nowadays, obviously robo-advisors started the trend of using mathematics to cut out all the inefficiencies and, over long-term investing provide better returns and better, more efficient and diverse portfolios. But as of today, you see even the conventional traditional players are becoming more robo, and there's very few that are left that have a completely traditional model. So it's just the way the industry is headed. If you look at it from a purely, factual and math point of view, there is no doubt that passive management in the long term, outperforms active management when you take the fee difference into account. And that's more so when you look at ethical investing, because there's excess unnecessary fees applied just for, the ethical buzzword.
Right.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
So how are you inserting that ethical overlay? Is that all automated, or is that a manual process, or a hybrid?
That's a great question. So we do have a certain automated process to look obviously for ratios, debt ratios, certain cash balances, account receivable. There are a few key points we look for in an automated manner. However, we also have a full-time Sharia review board, an ethical review board that oversees all portfolios. And a very unique point of this proposition is that annually we publish a purification report. And what that report says is, look, you will never have 100% ethical portfolio. So over the year, this is the money you earned from impermissible means, whether it was from excessive interest income of one of the companies held in your portfolio or whatever it may be. And that purification, the clients can take that purification report, and then if they want to give that money to charity or whatever they want to do with it, the key here is absolute transparency in where your money is.
That's fascinating addition. And so you're just in that process now, I would imagine, of issuing reports for this past year. Have you actually produced them to look at those purification reports? I'm just curious about what they look like and how people are reacting to them.
So we absolutely have, and I can send one over to you to have a look. People so far love them, and it's not so hard to create these reports. So I don't understand why other firms don't do it. So it's not like it's our unique value add proposition. We have many more of those. This is just something we feel is necessary, that people should have at the end of the year to see exactly what has happened. If you look at mutual funds, you put your money in a mutual fund, you have periodic reporting. You don't know what has happened throughout the year. You have no transparency. So we want to make sure that people who keep money with us, who invest with us, always know what their money is impacting, where it has been used. And if it has been used for any impermissible means to create income, they will know of it. And we pride ourselves on being transparent, whether that's good, that's bad, it's in the client's hands. And we want to make sure they always know what's going on.
As we think about what makes you special, you say this report isn't one of your real defining features, but what are those things that you're most proud of that differentiate you from your competition?
So that's quite a broad question. So I'll pick a specific part of that to answer. One key point is to create an ethical portfolio or a Sharia compliant portfolio, and to avoid interest income, which is, the fixed income component of a portfolio. It's a huge, probably the most important asset class. So how do you do that if you're not allowed fixed income? So what we have to do is get access to these instruments known as sukuks. Sukuks are in essence Islamic bonds. There are obviously differences to, approximate the difference. It's mainly asset backed and works on lease-based structured. And that's one example. There's many technicalities we could go into. So we have gotten access to these sukuk instruments, which otherwise retail clients would never have. They are traded in, $200,000 blocks over the counter. So usually it's a complete institutional product, but we offer it to someone with $100, which is unheard of. And there's no one in the middle. So that is one of the very many. And if you look at other Sharia compliant investment advisors, the very few that are out there, even for high net worths, they will never offer an asset class other than equities because they cannot. So we pride ourselves on actually going down to the drawing board and figuring out the infrastructure. It took us a very long time, but we're very proud that we did it, because at the end of the day, this product is for the community, and it solves a purpose.
What kind of returns are people getting on Sukuks?
So it's very, very similar to fixed income returns. I can't give you exact numbers because that's a very vague type of question. But in terms of the yield curve, it's almost identical to fixed income. Sometimes it's a little cheaper.
Okay. Well, this is a fascinating project you've created. What do the customers say? What is their reaction to this offering after they get in and try it out? What is the feedback they're giving you?
The best thing we've seen so far is that it's a very community-driven product. So our clients really feel a part of the journey. They know we are doing this for them. So, we see a lot of referrals, a lot of advice that they give us to help build the product, which we've seen as quite rare, from our past experience. It's usually you versus the client, and, there's always other alternatives. For us, our clients, trust us. We have a sense of belonging, and we work together to create the best type of product. So far, the metrics we use at least, we've been blown away by the support and the positivity. And that's even globally. We have people emailing us and contacting us from all around the world. And I really mean all around the world, saying, when can you come to our country? This is, such a nice thing. How can we help you? And it's really nice to see that.
As you look at it, your customer base, certainly they admire you. They look up to you. They see you as a role model. Who in turn do you see as a role model? Who do you admire?
For me personally, someone I look up to in this industry is there was a man named Sulaiman Al-Raji. He founded the Al-Raji Bank. So at a time where there was no concept of, Islamic finance or Islamic banking, he came in and created that infrastructure. So he went against the entire tide to create that bank. And as of today, it's the world's largest Islamic bank. I feel it's a very similar situation we are in today because Islamic banks have become dormant in innovation. To be very blunt, they see there's a lot of easy money and it's a captive market, so there's no need to innovate or compete. And so we want to bring it up to speed. We want to really re-engineer this for efficiency and, like I said, prove the point that there does not have to be a cost that comes along with religion or ethics.
As you look at the world, almost all of us look out at the world and we say, boy, it'd be nice if this or that existed. And certainly lots of people have said, it'd sure be nice if there were an easier way to do ethical investing or halal investing. Why did you feel so personally responsible to make that happen?
So that has to do with my personal background. I'm Indian. I'm from India. And, a lot of people don't know that there's over 200 million Muslims in India. And the majority of them are in poverty. And there are many countries like this. So I see that. I have seen that. And I've been very, very fortunate to have good education, the resources and wherewithals to be able to do something. And so I felt quite personally responsible to, give back and say, look, it's so easy for me to do. What right do I have not to actually go in there and fix this problem? And it always feels nice to start off with good intention and have a business, that stems from something out of goodwill. And so far, I'm really happy that I chose to do that. And I think everyone in the organization, not just me, believes that. And so that's the best part. Everyone is happy about what they're doing, and it's a real big value add in the firm that we can actually see the difference, hear the difference, and clients tell us, that we are so happy we don't have to just keep our money in cash. A big amount of our clients are first-time investors, and that's not the norm. There's always an alternative. People are switching to a more efficient alternative. For us, it's money that was kept in cash because people did not want to keep it in traditional investments. that are not ethical.
Oh, that's great. Well, Junaid, I have just one last question for you, and that is, what is your superpower?
I would say, well, I like to think, let's put it this way. I like to think it's being able to tell what people need, what people want. So I like how we've built this very consumer facing, and we've really gone down to the ground. I've gone down to the ground, seen what people actually need, and built it from there. That's the core of our business. If it's not, for that need, the business doesn't exist. So I would say that is my superpower.
Oh, that's fantastic. Great superpower, perfectly apropos to what you're doing. Well, Junaid, we really appreciate you taking the time to be with us. Before you go, will you take just a minute and tell people how they can learn more about Wahed Invest and where they can connect with you personally?
Absolutely. So I think the best way would be to visit our websites. That's www.wahedinvest.com, and it's WAHED invest.com. I read pretty much, I scan through all the support emails. So if you fill out the contact us form, I'll be able to be contacted there for sure.
Fantastic. Well, again, Junaid, we really appreciate you taking the time to be with us, and we wish you every success in helping to accelerate a more ethical economy.
Thank you, Devin. It means a lot.
All righty. Let's do some good.
Thank you for listening. This podcast was recorded via Google Hangouts on Air and is available at youtube.com/Devin Thorpe. Subscribe to this podcast on Stitcher or iTunes by searching for Your Mark on the World. Every weekday, Devin hosts a CEO, celebrity, entrepreneur, or other changemaker here on the Your Mark on the World show to inspire and prepare you to make your mark. Devin is a champion of social good, writing about, advocating for, and advising people who are doing good. He is a Forbes contributor who is a recognized thought leader in social entrepreneurship, impact investing, and crowdfunding. To book Devin as a speaker, visit devinthorpe.com. Learn more about Devin's work at yourmarkontheworld.com.